Let's be honest, when you hear the name Thomas Edison, one thing probably pops into your head, the light bulb, right? But what if I told you his greatest invention wasn't a thing at all, but a whole new way of doing things? Today, we're going to look beyond that famous light bulb to uncover the incredibly complex man who, you could argue, invented the modern world. Okay, so let's start with this quote from the man himself. We have this image of Edison as a lone genius, getting hit with a flash of inspiration. But that's not how he saw it. For him, genius was about pure grit, sticking with a problem and just common sense. And as we're about to see, it was definitely a team sport. All right, let's tackle the biggest myth head on. Yeah, we give Edison credit for the light bulb, but that's kind of like crediting a master chef for just one ingredient. His real stroke of genius wasn't the product. It was the entire kitchen he built to create it, this incredible invention factory that was about to change everything. And just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, look at this number, 1,093. That's how many US patents were in his name. So you gotta ask, how on earth did one guy achieve so much? It seems almost impossible. Well, the simple answer is he didn't. His real game-changing breakthrough wasn't a gadget. It was a completely new way of thinking about how to invent things in the first place. What he created was a system. Over in Menlo Park, New Jersey, Edison built the world's very first industrial research lab. He literally called it an invention factory. The whole point was to churn out innovations on a schedule, just like a factory making widgets. And his method was, well, it was relentless. He brought together a whole team of researchers. He called them his muckers, and he pushed them to their absolute limits. We're talking 18-hour days. He gave them a lab stocked with just about every material you could possibly imagine, and they would just systematically attack problem after problem. Teamwork wasn't just part of a success, it was his system. Okay, but this whole system, it wasn't just for inventing in a lab. It was also for winning in the marketplace. Edison was no quiet academic. He was a fierce competitor. And his battle to control the future of electricity, what we now call the War of the Currents, shows a much darker, much more ruthless side to him. So here's the deal. Edison was all in on his system, direct current or DC. It worked fine in dense cities, but he had a major rival, George Westinghouse, who was pushing alternating current or AC. And AC could travel much, much farther, making it way more efficient. Edison had a serious problem on his hands. So what did he do? Instead of just competing on the technology, Edison went on the attack. He launched a massive propaganda campaign to convince the public that AC power was deadly. He was not afraid to play dirty to protect his empire. And I mean, this war of the currents got ugly. He was involved in public demonstrations where animals were electrocuted with AC just to scare people. And get this, he even secretly worked behind the scenes to make sure the first electric chair was powered by a Westinghouse AC generator, all so he could forever tie his competitors' technology to death in the public's mind. So you've got the inventor, the ruthless businessman, but the story gets even wilder. Because beyond electricity, Edison was a key player in creating a brand new industry, one built entirely on light and shadow. You better believe it. Long before Hollywood was even a thing, Thomas Edison was one of America's very first movie moguls. I mean, just look at this timeline. It shows how deep he really went. He wasn't just inventing the camera. He was a filmmaker. His studio made almost 1,200 movies, including huge hits for the time like The Great Train Robbery. And yeah, you heard that right. His studio produced the very first movie version of Frankenstein back in 1910. He was building an entire industry and trying to control it too.
So, we've got the innovator, the competitor, and the showman. But what about the man himself? Who was the person behind this larger-than-life legend?
Well, for one thing, he was incredibly direct, maybe even a little dismissive. When he was asked late in life what he thought about Einstein's theories, this was his response. He was a total pragmatist, a hands-on guy. If he couldn't build it or test it himself, he just wasn't interested. And his personal life was filled with these fascinating, kind of weird details. He had severe hearing loss from when he was a kid, and he actually thought it helped him concentrate. It's said that he would bite down on a piano just so he could hear the music through the vibrations in his skull. Even his death had this strange mix of science and myth, with his son supposedly capturing his very last breath in a test tube for his buddy Henry Ford. So when you put it all together, What's the real takeaway here? What's his true legacy? Because when you look back, it is so much more than just a light bulb. His true legacy is the actual blueprint for a modern tech-driven world. Think about it. He didn't just invent things. He invented the process of inventing. He didn't just create a light bulb. He built the entire electrical system to power it. And he didn't just make a camera. He helped build the entire entertainment industry around it. So was he a genius, a tyrant, a showman? The truth is, he was all of those things, and a whole lot more. The Wizard of Menlo Park wasn't some simple figure from a storybook. He was a complex, driven, and contradictory man who didn't just predict the future, he built it, wire by wire and frame by frame.